Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in for our ongoing coverage with Tropical Storm Eta. Time now 10:27 p.m. on this Veterans Day, and we are just hours away from an official landfall in Central Florida, West Central Florida to be exact, you guys. It has been a long day. A lot of folks trying to make preps in the state of Florida with Eta. Lots of good, encouraging things to report to you tonight. So we're going to get you updated on that as well. But there is still a lot of information we want to unpack as we head through these next several minutes. And Matt, I did not even talk to you about the app. So let me see if we can try and get that going. It's not even ready to go, but if it is and you can get it, we'll take a look at it. So let me try and do our screen mirroring. But you guys, it has there has been encouraging news from the National Hurricane Center over the last several hours, as Eta pretty much maxed out as a hurricane today and has since then stayed steady as a tropical storm. So it looks like it's mirroring. Matt, if you want to tell me if you can see it, we'll take the app. If not, we'll go to something else. Okay, cool. So what we're seeing right now in the MyRadar app is a couple of things. So I do have the hurricane tracker toggled on. So remember, that is an upgrade, but you don't need that to track a tropical cyclone by any means. I'm showing it to you, and I'll show you the official track from the Hurricane Center as well. But as I zoom in a little bit closer here, you can see those real heavy bands that have been moving over parts of Pinellas County and into Hillsborough County, and all of those areas are going to be dealing with some pretty significant weather over the next several hours. So the center of circulation, you can see it here, it's north of the Tampa Bay area. So that is good news for the folks in Tampa. I was concerned earlier today that there was going to be more of a direct impact with the storm surge, and I do expect the storm surge there to be 3 to 5 feet. But now that we're still seeing that trajectory closer to the Cedar Key, Beverly Hills area, that lessens the impact of very large metropolitan areas in Tampa Bay. That does not mean that Tampa is not going to get bad weather. Tampa is getting a ton of bad weather right now. Heavy rains, and there is embedded winds there at tropical storm strength, and that's going to only increase as we head through these next several hours. But as you see here, the official path coming in very near Cedar Key, and then crossing over north central Florida, so parts of Marion County and over into Alachua County, where there's a University of Florida is there, my alma mater, and then headed over to the northeastern side of the state, right over Jacksonville and into St. John's and maybe even into Flagler County. And there are a couple of new warnings from the Hurricane Center, tropical storm warnings, including Flagler County. So I'll show you that as well. So let's switch from the app, and we'll take the WSI machine, Matt, full screen, and we'll talk about the radar. And you can see, again, there are heavy storms that have been moving over this immediate area over these last several hours. So I really think the worst of the weather at this point is going to be from now until maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You can see those yellows and those embedded oranges, and that is significant rain, and there's also embedded wind in there. So let's take a look at some of the rain rates. Most of these are coming in. I'm just going to toggle on this randomly, 1/2 of an inch to that one I just toggled on didn't have that, but anywhere from 1/2 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch an hour. But remember, these feeder bands, they're called, will rotate over the same area for 1 to 2 to 3 hours. So there's multiple inches of rain that you can see in these areas in just a short period of time. That's why there's a flash flooding warning up for some parts of Central Florida along the west side of the state, and there's a flash flood watch as well. So let me zoom in just a little bit tighter here, and we'll take a little closer look. And again, those embedded squalls are pretty significant. They're now just to the east of the Tampa Bay, in Tampa, but there is still a fair amount of weather that we're anticipating through these next several hours, and that will continue to rotate towards the north as Eta makes its landfall, I think, within these next 10 hours or so, you guys. You know, it's hard to pinpoint the exact hour here. The official forecast from the Hurricane Center calls for less than 12 hours from now. It's looking very close. And if you look here, I'm going to stop this loop when it gets to the end. And let me stop it right there. Hang on one second. Let me scrub it to the end, and then you can see that the center is very disorganized, but it's generally right in here. So the center of the tropical storm, and I'm going to back it up, and we'll start again. So let me outline it for you so you can see it a little more clearly. And thankfully now I'm in the studio, so it's much easier to manipulate my computer. I was at home when I did my last live update, so I apologize that we had several technical issues. You know, I have a pretty good connection, but at any rate, we had some issues. But there's the center of the tropical storm at the beginning of this loop. So as I scrub this forward, you can watch and see that, you know, there's nothing closed off here. This is not a closed center, but that's where it started. And then as I scrub this to the latest radar imagery, and I'll redraw it here in a second. So let me redraw it. So the center now generally in this area, and again, it's not that large, but I'm just, I at least want to show you the east side because that's the most important side. And we're still getting significant rain with the cyclone. So as we head through these next 6 hours to 10 hours from now, that's when we're anticipating these feeder bands to continue to fill in. Here is a long line. And you have to remember, so this is going to train all the way down from the Port Charlotte area all the way up into the east side of Hillsborough in Pinellas County, and it's going to sit there and just train and train and train. So there's going to be a significant amount of rain over these next several hours as all that pulls towards the north as the center of circulation eventually makes that landfall. So here's a look at the current wind speeds. These are sustained winds, and most areas are in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 miles an hour, but Sarasota has a sustained wind of 29 miles an hour, and then the 31 is at St. Petersburg, and a 17 mile per hour wind over in the Tampa area. We did get within this last hour a wind gust at Tampa Bay of 59. So there's gusting winds definitely higher than what you see here. This is again sustained wind, so you have to have these winds stay at that rate for about 1 minute or 2 minutes, 60 seconds to 120 seconds, give or take. But for the most part, we're still talking about winds that are manageable. But those gusts can certainly be troublesome. And Matt, if you can show the current power outages across the state of Florida, they have been steady over the last several hours. For the most part, we've had about 17,000 people without power. The crews were able to get out tonight before the sun set and started to work on some of the power outages. So they are still trying to restore power for folks that, or they were trying to restore power for some folks that were without power, and about 17,000 people without power. Hopefully we won't see that climb too much. With a tropical storm, we generally see relatively low power outages. Florida has not had a major outbreak with hurricanes at all this year. Of course, the northern Gulf Coast, Louisiana in particular, dealing the brunt of the landfalls this year. But I do expect to see those numbers fluctuate just a bit as we head through tonight, especially into tomorrow once we get that core over the state of Florida. So back to WSI, we'll head, Matt, and our current watches and warnings. You can see them here. So the tropical storm warnings, again, are the areas shaded in purple. So that extends all the way over from the east, from the west side of the state, back over to the east side near the Jacksonville area, including parts of St. John, Putnam, into Alachua. Let's see, I'm trying to get my geography here. Marion County, Sumter County, Lake County, Osceola County as well. And then there is a flash flood warning that has been posted for Hillsborough, Pinellas, but they are also under a tropical storm warning because, again, very close to the actual landfall. We think the landfall will be very near Cedar Key, between Cedar Key and southward to Beverly Hills. So in between those two areas, we think is where the landfall is actually going to be called in these next few hours. Storm surge 2 to 5 feet. So, if you've lived in Florida for any length of time, you're saying, hey, that is no big deal, Miss Thing. Why are you making a big deal of this? And we're not making a big deal, but it is a big deal. This is not a garden variety thunderstorm. These are going to be multiple hours of enhanced rain, enhanced weather hazards, including the storm surge, that wall of water, as well as those sustained winds in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 miles an hour, give or take. And you know, a storm surge of 2 to 5 feet is very dangerous, especially if you're in that 4 to 5 foot range, and there is plenty of opportunity for that to happen. So, you know, we want folks to, you know, be ready and be prepared, and try not to Monday morning quarterback if you can, because, you know, we really do try. And I'm sorry, my computer stopped, so I've got to cycle through all these graphics. It's going to show a bunch of graphics here. I'm going to fast forward past all of these, but you know, we try to let you guys know that even a tropical storm is worse than your severe thunderstorm on many levels. You know, the winds are higher, they last for longer periods of time. A storm surge comes in with a tropical storm, which you don't get with a severe thunderstorm. So, you know, there is definitely embedded risks and hazards with a landfalling tropical storm, and certainly one that has had a history of producing bad weather, which this has. So now I'm up to date. I apologize, my computer stopped, but here's a look at the peak storm surge from the National Hurricane Center. So 2 to 4 feet from Cross City down to around Spring Hill, right near Tampa Bay. It might be just a bit less than that. I have seen storm surge video out of Tampa Bay, and it's been in that neighborhood of 3 to 4 feet. So I definitely think that's been verifiable. And then 3 to 5 feet in the Bay and into Port Charlotte as well. We think the worst of that storm surge will be anywhere from Tampa Bay down to Port Charlotte. It already came in. Storm surge always comes in ahead of a landfalling tropical cyclone, hangs around for multiple hours, and then it gradually decreases once it moves inland. So we're still dealing with that storm surge as we speak. Bonita Springs 2 to 4 feet, and then about 1 to 2 feet along the southwestern side of the peninsula down by Flamingo, where they have been getting hit pretty hard. I will tell you, Miami-Dade County again today just getting nailed with some intense feeder bands. They had severe thunderstorm warnings today. They saw heavy rain bands. Yet again, another day of flooding rains for South Florida. They have topped one of their, I think this is their 9th wettest season ever on record. I may not have that right, but I believe it's the 9th. It's definitely a top 10 since Ada came calling last week. So here's a look at Ada on the infrared. So when you're talking about a cyclone, in this case a tropical storm, cyclones are tropical storms and hurricanes, this is what you want to see. You don't want to see a well-organized, you know, a well-defined center, an eye. This particular presentation has looked less organized throughout the day today. So we saw Ada max out at a hurricane this morning. It was upgraded to a hurricane, and then it was downgraded to a tropical storm after that. And you can see on that last frame there, I'll stop it, you can see there's that burst. Hang on, let me get to the very end. And you can see there's that burst of convection, that burst of thunderstorms right in here. So it's still trying to get a little run here before it actually makes landfall. So that's why I am definitely anticipating winds in the neighborhood of 65 miles an hour, gusting definitely higher than that, because we've seen that burst of energy that is not uncommon for these cyclones. The good news in all of this is that we have seen an enhanced flow of the southwest to southwest winds, so that's going to help shear apart a lot of the thunderstorms. But still, Ada has defied many of the odds. Even though there is a ton of dry air, there is a ton of dry air that's just to the west of it, which generally would choke the system out, would not give it an opportunity to strengthen. And it didn't strengthen, but it maintained its intensity today for sure. And then it's going to quickly deflate, and I mean at warp speed once it makes landfall later in these next few hours, early through the overnight while you're sleeping. And hopefully by tomorrow morning you'll be done with Ada. It's going to be fast moving, comes on shore, it will exit the state in the course of hours. So this will not be a long-range event. Florida is a peninsula, obviously. It is not wide, so it will not take this system to cross the state quickly. And the fact that it's being absorbed and being picked up by a cold front will only mean that it's going to move even quicker. So good news is that this will not be a big player for the state of Florida for long, but over these next several hours for sure, we're going to have to watch what's going on. So the wind field, it's already been over central Florida, west central Florida, moving into the interior part of the state as we head through the overnight hours. And we are here in Orlando, by the way. The MyRadar studios are in downtown Orlando, and the winds have been around 15 to 20, no big deal at all. But we're expecting the winds to ramp up just a bit in this area, and then of course increasing much more so as you head towards the west side of the state. And you can see that here with our are estimated of those tropical storm force winds, and then rapidly moving off towards the northeast as we head through tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow afternoon it should be out of the state and out of the continental United States as well. We don't expect direct impacts to Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina. There will be peripheral impacts from this system, but not a direct player. So here's a look at the wind radii. So this takes a look at the wind field. So the tropical storm force winds and the winds that are up to tropical storm. So the winds that are 39 to 57 is the area shaded in yellow. And this is a front-loaded storm, by the way. A lot of the winds are on the northeast side, not atypical, that's common. And then the core, the highest winds are in that little kidney shape that you see there in the orange. Again, front-loaded on the right, away from the center. Not a well-organized system. Good news, that's what we want. We want it disorganized. And again, moving very quickly through the northern part of the state. It's out of here by, the late lunch hour. By 1 or 2 o'clock, it is off the coast of Jacksonville, and it's making tracks after that. Let me back this up a little bit, because again, I had this slowed down, but this is going to be moving so quickly tomorrow. It's really going to be moving out of here really quickly. So watch. So I scrub this at 10:30 p.m. local time, so that's about 18 minutes ago. And then as I scrub it forward, look how quickly it moves off towards Jacksonville. So by 10 a.m., 10:30 tomorrow morning, it's already in Jacksonville. And then by 1:30, it is off the coast of the U.S. And after that, by say 5, 6 o'clock, it is out of here, you guys. So it is going to be a fast-moving cyclone. Best case scenario, what we want to see, but it's these next several hours that's going to be a little bumpy for folks. So our computer model here, the HRR, the high resolution HRR model, does a great job. I've been using it a lot this week, and I showed you the live radar just a couple minutes ago. This is verifying very nicely. So heavy embedded rains across parts of the Tampa Bay area, Hillsborough, Pinellas in specifics, those two counties. But then as I fast forward here, as we go through the overnight, you can see those storms kind of migrating through the interior part into Sumter, Lake, Orange, Seminole, Volusia, back towards the east. And then by 9 a.m. Thursday, we're going to see possibly some heavy showers through Volusia County, up into Flagler County, and up into St. John. But again, this is not an unusual scenario for Florida. We get a lot of rain in this state. We get a lot of heavy thunderstorms in this state. So folks that live here, and I am a native, you look at that and you're saying, hey, that is no big deal. It isn't, but you want to put it in perspective, because what you don't see here is the winds that are going to be associated with those storms. So we are going to have, again, higher winds, in some cases higher than a severe thunderstorm. So we could see those winds 60 to 65. A severe thunderstorm threshold is 58 or above. So right at that threshold of 58, but a severe thunderstorm, you're done with those in 10 or 15 minutes in most cases. We're talking about the potential here of a couple hours of getting off and on these squalls, where you're going to get these intense squalls for a few minutes, dies down, comes back, and ramps back up to around 60, 65 miles an hour. So again, this is something that Floridians and people that live along the Gulf Coast that deal with hurricanes, tropical storms all the time, the comfort level for them is probably pretty good right now, because they know what they're dealing with. They're dealing with something that they've had before. But, I always try and unpack things for folks that are new to the area, or folks that are not used to tropical cyclones or hurricanes, because, even folks that are natives like myself, there is always something that surprises you with a tropical cyclone. So, don't try not to take everything for granted. Prepare for everything, and then be happy that you've got a fresh stock of hurricane supplies to get you through the holidays, because you just never know with these systems. They're very unpredictable. As you know, just yesterday we did not think this was going to be a Florida landfall, and here we are. We're talking about just hours away from this coming in near Cedar Keys. So these things are very unpredictable, and especially this year of all years, it has been a tough call for many of these storms. Okay, so 3 to 5 inches rainfall across the extreme western parts of Central Florida. Again, that Tampa Bay area, southward, including Sarasota, and then lesser impacts across the spine of the state. Orlando, where we are, I think we're going to have much lesser impacts. A lot of people were asking yesterday, are the airports going to close? Tampa Airport is closed. closed. Orlando, MCO, is currently open. I think, and I don't make the call, but I would imagine Orlando will stay open. I think it's going to stay in that threshold just to the west of those higher winds, but that is a estimation, you guys. That is certainly not set in stone. But hopefully, if you've got some travel plans to get you into the wonderful city of Orlando, that you will be able to get here. But I'm actually flying out in a few hours too, so I definitely hope MCO stays open. But the power outage forecast, as I mentioned, low to moderate, as we're sitting at 17,000, give or take, people. I think that's going to bump up just a bit tomorrow, but I think that will not be long lived. If you are have family that's without power, I think it will not be long tomorrow once the crews are able to get out before they can restore power, because again, I think they'll be able to get the lines back up relatively quickly. I certainly hope that's the case. I do think up in the southeast, though, up in the Carolinas, they're going to have a big problem, not from Ada, from that cold front. I'm going to show you that in just a second. So there's a look at those spaghetti models. They have been all over the place. It has been so hard to call Ada, but all in agreement today. In the last 24 hours, we've seen a well alignment of the modeling and the upper air components all coming together. This cold front, that's the one I'm talking about. Look at that squall line that develops ahead of that cold front. So the Carolinas are expecting 5 to 7 inches additional rain over these next couple of days. So they already got rain all day today, yesterday as well, and they're expecting more as this cold front pushes offshore. So it's not directly related to Ada, but indirectly, you're going to get some of that tropical moisture coming into play as that front moves off the coast. But look at that squall line. It's really, really nasty. So over these next few days, we're anticipating some pretty rough weather for the Carolinas as you head through tomorrow and even into the weekend. Quick look at the Atlantic Basin. You guys know that theta is up in the right-hand side of your screen, moving away from the U.S., not a factor for the U.S. We are watching, of course, what could be iota. Cannot believe I've never in my 20-something year career talked about iota, this letter of the alphabet, but we could be talking about iota. It could be a threat towards Central America. There's about a 90% chance that could happen. The Hurricane Center thinks that it will form into something. Just as a reminder, Ada, gosh, I can't even keep them all straight. Ada was in that general vicinity as well. Way too early to say whether that's going to be a problem for the U.S. Just letting you know it's out there. All right, one last look at the live radar. And Matt, let me know, holler out to me. I don't see a ton of people. It's late on YouTube. And if you see anybody, let me know if there's a question. If not, we'll say have a great night here shortly. I know, I don't see that either. Everyone is like, I'm out of here. No one hangs around. There's no tropical storm parties. They only hang around for hurricane parties. So at any rate, I'm sure we'll have some people that will come back and watch this over these next couple hours. So for now, that'll do it, you guys. We will have the fast forecast in just a few hours. We'll have some video for you, additional video, and we'll have new path, and we'll have some new information for the southeastern U.S., and we'll take it from there. But I think that's going to do it for now. It is 10:50 here in Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much for sticking with me and Matt tonight as we keep you updated on Ada. If you are in the state of Florida like we are, we hope you stay dry and stay safe, and you've got some good, yummy snacks to get you through the overnight. We'll see you tomorrow.